Something I see as a common pattern in teams and organizations, and that I experienced myself in corporations, is performance theatre. And it's important that I say this up front, that it's not about people pretending or being disingenuous, about manipulation or bad intent. But it's what happens when teams start to focus on looking aligned, looking capable, and in control, rather than truly surfacing what's going on. So it shows up as polished updates, it's the carefully managed and curated narratives and what we're going to say. It's progress framed in a much more positive light than what's really showing up in reality. And so what happens is we get into these safe conversations, and when we have these conversations, we potentially agree, but nothing moves forward. And things seem normal on the surface, but underneath, the really important things aren't being spoken about. And I see it in a lot of teams, in leadership teams and project teams, and even in HR and people teams, right? It's things like that subtle look across the table that says, don't raise that right now. You're going to prolong the meeting, or that's a little bit risky. I wouldn't if I were you. And it's comments that are being labeled as aggressive or unprofessional because someone feels a little bit uncomfortable. And sadly, our team members have learned what is safe to say, what's going to be rewarded if they talk about or demonstrate, and what's better or safer left unsaid. And here's the thing, that's not a people problem, rather, it's a system problem. And one of the parts of the system that I think often gets confused, and I'll probably unpack this more in another video, is how we're thinking about psychological safety. Because psychological safety and comfort are not the same thing, right? Psychological safety is really our ability to challenge each other without people feeling like there's risk of being shut down, of exposure, of being sidelined. And comfort, on the other hand, is about avoiding discomfort altogether. And often people will confuse the two. And so when things start to get challenging, people want to protect themselves. And this is really true for leaders, especially when they carry a disproportionate amount of risk. That fear of exposure, self-protection becomes really rational. So teams start managing perception instead of reality. And the cost of performance theatre becomes really significant, because the conversations that need to be had truly do go underground. People aren't sharing challenges. High performers are getting frustrated. Leaders are feeling isolated, even in full rooms, because no one's truly speaking up. And that's when performance really takes the hit, and everyone starts to get disenchanted and frustrated and checks out. And that can turn into a lot of dysregulation on a team. So to start solving it, it's not about just having courage or good intent, but it's really about starting to evolve the way a team works, and how they're showing up and regulating when there is pressure or challenge, right? So rather than things going under the surface when that tension arrives, or when the challenge is here, things turning into silence, it's about working out what's getting in the way of performance rather than who or what is the problem, right? And it's about using neutral language that's non-threatening and asking better questions, and really creating space in your team to explore what's happening beneath the surface without blame and without escalation. So when we start to do that, then the performance theatre starts to dissolve. So if this feels familiar, it's not about who's at fault, but really what conversations in your team are being avoided, right? That's where team performance really begins. And there is always, always more happening beneath the surface than any leader can see. Stay tuned for more insights.